Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 27 of Ain't This the Fun podcast, where we like to try our best to be positive in a world that's a nightmare.
Full of shit.
Seems to get worse every day. I was reading an article. I don't even get into the article because that's not what this podcast is about. But it just blows my mind. Yeah.
Today's certainly got worse for one person in the world. I know that.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I know we're not going to discuss it. But yeah, we're.
But if we are talking about things that make us happy,
yeah,
you know.
Well, you hope.
Spin it that way. You hope and you pray.
Well, you know, like I always say to you, I always go, yeah, but nothing's gonna come of it.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
And I say hope is a good thing, Red.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see.
Yes.
Again, try to be optimistic.
Throw it on the craps table enough. Eventually, you're gonna roll 7.
Well, like they say, a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Correct.
Like I anticipate something.
Mm-hmm.
I assume nothing, and even if something does happen, it's not going to be to our satisfaction, that's the sad part.
Well, the only thing that would gratify our satisfaction is something biblical, and you know, especially if you don't believe in that kind of stuff, then it's never going to happen. But yeah, I mean, there's no, like, the worst part of your imagination has to go to that, and that's the only thing that would come close to satisfying the end game for that particular individual.
Yeah, but
you're talking I should stop.
Yeah, we're talking positive. So again, we're gonna try in this nightmare hellscape we're living in. It is mind numbing that every day something else, over and over and over every single day, and yet still. Nothing's been done about any of it. It is astounding, the slipperiness of that bastard. Like, I cannot get it. So again, it's good news. You know, at least there is a start again.
Right.
Because the other one went nowhere. The other lawsuit went nowhere. Right.
Right.
The other charges went nowhere. So again, so that's not going to happen. Just like I said.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see if this sticks, but it won't.
There will prediction.
Sure.
There will be a settlement that will not satisfy him, but there will be a settlement before it goes to trial. That's my prediction.
I just don't see it. It's the sad part. I just don't.
They have the numbers.
It appears that you can have a lot of stuff, but nothing ever happens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we shouldn't even be talking about this, frankly.
No. But like you said, there is if there's anything to it, there is positivity in the fact that at least stuff keeps happening. Hopefully, at some point, there will be justice.
Someone's paying attention.
Right.
Somebody.
You hope.
Yeah, and you pray.
Well, you know what? Hopes and prayers never really did much for anybody. So,
No.
I'm more of a. What did I say? I've always called myself a pragmatist, right?
Realist.
Well, yeah.
With me, I mean, yeah, same thing, but
yeah. But I always said, look, I'm not negative, I don't think.
Right.
But I realize that the world is the world, life is life, and things happen, and there are things you can't control, and sometimes.
Right.
Almost indefinitely, something as bad is going to happen to you and all along the spectrum.
Thank you.
But, not you. Well, everybody. But, that's the thing. That's the whole reason for the podcast, was to try to find stuff to make us happy as much as humanly possible, because as a realist or as a pragmatist, we know.
Well, as having known you most of my life, it's nice to see you turning over this new leaf to do something totally positive. Because, you're not... you're not like a nihilist, but
It's getting there.
Well,
It's getting there.
not until we start up Pissed on Patreon.
That's right. Pissed on Patreon.
But I mean, you and I come at things a little differently. That I like to believe in the 1% is possible. I like to believe in the winning lottery ticket and the golden ticket, so to speak. I don't bank my life on it.
Sure.
But I like to know that, the star is just out of my reach, so to speak. And if I just reach a little bit further, maybe it'll come back to me or I can reach it. That kind of thing. And you're just like, no, fuck the star. It's gone.
Yeah, I'm just a realist. I see the...
Can't touch the star, Eric.
I know. I see... Waiting on a star to fall. Hold on.
Yes.
My whole channel's going to get demonetized. Yeah,
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Get right.
Yeah, I get what, 4 seconds?
What if we say what movie that song is actually featured during the end credits?
Ooh.
Here's some trivia for the people listening.
Yeah, if you know it, type it in the...
That's a pull out of my ass too, man. Why I know that? People will ask me, why do you know that?
Short Circuit 2.
You're okay. Did I say sequel?
No.
No, but okay. Well, it is a sequel.
Mannequin 2.
No, you're going back. No. I'm trying to remember what year the movie came out. Okay, you're not far off from years, by the way.
Yeah, I know
You're
it's mid to late 80s, and I'm trying. I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when the song came out. It was very
Mhm.
popular. I can see the credits and know that now that you said it, it makes sense.
I don't
but
know
I
if you
can't.
do. I don't know
No?
if you do. I don't even know if you've ever seen this movie.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's not
Okay.
like something we talk about.
Sure.
I just happen to know that song plays at the end of credits of this movie.
Waiting for a star to fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to it, when the lottery today, I saw an article. 2 people came forward to claim the 1.3 billion. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, I guess they had like
Right.
3 days left. If they didn't claim it, it was going to go back to
Yeah.
the state or whatever,
Yeah.
however it goes back. So
It
they
went back
finally
into
came.
jackpot.
The what?
It would have gone back into the jackpot.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they claimed it. But yeah, when I see that, I know better. Like like my philosophy is I take the money and I might as well burn it. Like when I go get a lottery ticket, I'm just burning my money. I know, like this $20 or whatever, this 15, I'm just getting rid of it. I have the mentality when I walk out because
Yeah, so that's the wrong mentality. Because my mom always says you got to be in it to win it.
when you see the odds, when you see the actual number, there's my pragmatism. When you see the number and it's a 1 out of 85 billion chance or whatever, 1 out of 85 million to hit, it's so infinitesimally small. I just go, yeah, so I'm not gonna get it. It's fine.
You of all people who love Han Solo
Yeah,
should know.
never tell me the odds.
That's correct.
It's every movie but Rogue One, right?
Where they say,
Yeah, never tell me the odds. Or no, I think something.
got a bad feeling.
Yes,
I
got a bad feeling. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because Rogue One's not as good as everyone cracks it up to be.
You don't like it? Wait, what?
No, I like it. People think it's like people come out and say that's the best Star Wars movie.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous.
Not.
But no,
No,
it's
it's
really
not.
good.
I don't even know if it's really good. I think it's good.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've always think it's been a soft 3-star movie.
Oh, yeah, we disagree there. I don't think it's the best Star Wars I wouldn't say by far. I don't think it's the best Star
It's
Wars.
an incredibly messy film. It's a
Really?
I think so, absolutely.
That's one of the ones now when people crap on the prequels and they crap on the especially the new 3. People are,
But that's
just,
part
like,
of the reasoning. I always say that's part of the reasoning of it is that it doesn't have that connection, and because it plays by a little slightly different set of rules, a bit, particularly in the way that the film ends, which I absolutely appreciate, and I wish it was better directed. I wish that there was a little more breathing room to get to know the team a bit more. I think the first hour of that movie is very messy. Yeah.
That's one of the ones now when people that, because they, I haven't watched a Star Wars movie in a while, or I hear bad things about the new
Right.
ones or whatever. That's one of the ones I always tell people. I'm like, look, if you haven't seen them in a while, watch Rogue One.
Mm.
You'll appreciate it. And then if you like, oh yeah, I do. I remember really liking Star Wars. I think I want to watch more. Maybe watch some more of them, see what you think. But that's the one. I'm like, because it's not your typical Star Wars movie, and I think that's why people appreciate it more.
What's the reason why people are all kind of fawning over Andor right now? Be not only because of the connection to Rogue One, but because it does feel different.
Sure.
I mean, having seen the first 3 episodes of it, I mean, it feels more like Blade Runner than Star Wars.
That's what they should be doing. That's why Mandalorian, I think, works well. People crapped on Boba Fett, but I got what I got from it. And I think that's why that worked. There are parts of that really work well. There should be more. There should be like a 2-episode special about, one of the ports on Naboo.
Yeah.
There should just be a 2-episode thing about running a port at Naboo, or and place it in a different time period. So it's like, oh, remember when the Queen was here 30 years ago or whatever, whatever. That's the beauty of Star Wars. There's so much of it. That's why all the comic books are so good. You can just place them anywhere, put it on any ship. The games do that a lot. Put you in this planet and this time period, different than the others, the Old Republic time period or whatever.
Star Wars takes Manhattan.
Sure.
The $100,000 idea right there.
There you go. No, I just don't want a musical. That's the only thing.
Why not?
No.
No musical?
No.
Okay.
Like Joker 2 that they're doing.
Joker, go fuck itself. I don't want to hear about the Joker and his musical.
Oh, it's gonna make bank now. Now that Gaga's officially in it, and they got the. Did Philip say he's gonna come back and do it? Because he's not a musical guy, right?
No, he directed the movie. He's not a music. He ain't even a fucking filmmaker.
No, the second one though is going to be a musical.
Yeah, so we've been told.
Yeah, and I didn't. Phillips doesn't do that kind of stuff, so it'd be interesting if
Todd Phillips doesn't do anything. He just does. He's a shit director.
Sure.
Yeah.
That bad, huh?
Spend your $3 on Pissed on Patreon.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care how positive you want to keep things here. You bring up Todd Phillips, it's just not going to go well.
It's going to get violent.
I don't say violent, but it's going to get vulgar.
Yeah, vulgar.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to be as pragmatic as possible about the stuff that's going on the past couple days. We'll see.
Well, it's all you can be. I mean, it's not exactly in your control. So you just hope that there is some positivity.
No, but we got to live through it.
Yeah, I understand.
It could. The life and the world's a pendulum.
Yeah.
And the swing back is going to be rough if it goes. And
if it goes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So let's talk about something more positive.
Sure.
So yeah. So the whole reason for this podcast, as I've said, is that we've been living in a nightmare hellscape for the last, I think, 27 months now. 28 months, I think, actually.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about things that make us happy, that are positive, make us bring us joy. And we're going to talk about 3 things and then a special 4th that we're looking forward to. And so, like I always say, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'm going to pass it along to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a little bit of a plug. I streamed yesterday, and I streamed a new game. Well, it's not new. It's new on Xbox called Deathloop.
Okay.
Deathloop. And it's kind of a funny story getting up to me even playing it. But the idea is there's a company called Bethesda And they make games like Fallout, and they make games like, now they own Doom and a bunch of others. They're making Starfield and Skyrim. People will know these games if they game at all. But so they were making a game called Deathloop, and PlayStation got a 1-year exclusivity where they were going to have the game for a full year before anybody else could have it on their systems. So the only place you're going to be able to play it was PlayStation. And somewhere along the line before the game got shipped, Microsoft zoomed in, paid like $76 billion and bought ZeniMax, Bethesda ZeniMax, or ZeniMax Bethesda, however it went, and bought up all the stuff. And so technically then Sony had a Xbox or Microsoft exclusive game only on their machine for an entire year, even though Microsoft owned it at that point. And so I didn't not play it on PlayStation because I was some sort of allegiance to Xbox. But the second they bought it, before the game even came out, everyone knew it was coming to Game Pass, which I already pay for and is free. So why would I? Well, not free. You pay monthly, but all the games on there are free. Well, anything Microsoft, they said, anything they publish is going to go on there for free, like Netflix. Well, why would I pay $50 or $60 on the PlayStation when I knew in a year I was going to get to play it? So it's just kind of a silly situation. It's not normal. I'm assuming in the movie business that happens on occasion, where a merger or a buyout screws up a release date or something. But
Sure.
In this case, anyway, the year lapsed, and of course, immediately, it's right up on Game Pass. And so I downloaded it. I've been really looking forward to it because last year it was on a lot of people's Game of the Year talk on the PlayStation. So here's the conceit, right? You wake up in the game, typical amnesia, oh my God, I don't know who I am or where I am. And you very quickly learn that you are on an island. By the way, it's a first-person game, kind of like a Doom or Halo. You see the gun or your hands in front of you, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you start walking around the environment, and words start almost like you're hallucinating. There's words in the air, and you hear a voice that appears to be your own. And you basically realize that you're in a loop. It appears you've just woken up from dying, and you're back. Did you physically actually die? Did you not? You don't know. But you appear to be either talking to yourself or you're actively remembering things. You don't know. And as you start walking around the environment, you start picking up guns and, doing the typical video game stuff. But basically what happens is you get to a safe room and there's one of those like conspiracy boards with all the red string.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, and you see these 8 people, and it gives you a very brief, like a three sentence when you kind of click on them, 3-sentence thing about them. These little Polaroids are up there, and you click on one's like, this guy can fight, but he's a real asshole, or something like that, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, super accurate if he gets a gun, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you where they might physically be on a map, sort of.
Okay.
Well, you walk out of that room like, well, I got to figure out what's going on. Well, as you walk out of the room, you start to see the environment. It's got a very of 60s Avengers, British Avengers aesthetic, sort of mod-ish a little bit, and mid-century modern kind of stuff. And sort of a Bondy vibe a little bit,
Okay.
And as you are hearing the people, as you come upon them, you start to... this is the only information I've gotten so far. I only played about an hour and 20 minutes of it. It appears there's some sort of experiment on the island. There's some sort of control room that I have not gotten to yet.
Is there a hatch?
No, hatch. A room with a door. It's about as close as you get to a hatch.
Is it in the ground when the light goes up?
No, I have not. No. Not that I know of. I haven't gotten to the room yet. So, I've learned that there's that. Some sort of experiment. You may have been part of it. And it appears with the 1 or 2 emails I pulled off the computer in my apartment, it appears that whoever I am, has decided to, quote, break the loop. And now I'm a wanted person. The problem is it appears that every time they kill me, I keep coming back. Hence, Deathloop. But the idea is, eventually, every time you get, like, there's a lot of these run-based games. You start a level or something, and you kind of make your way through, and you find something that's now part of your kit.
Mm-hmm.
If you die, then you can do another run. Well, this conceit is it's actually physically you, and you wake up, and then you could do another run. Well, it tags information you've learned. In, like, you hit the pause button, and you go up in the thing, and it'll say, like, okay, at this time of day, these 2 guys are hacking at the wall. You saw them, remember? These 2 guys are hacking at a wall with pickaxes. There must be something pretty important in there, but that only happens in the early hours of the morning. So if I go there in the afternoon, if I make it there in the afternoon part of the day, will they have broken the wall down, and can I get access to that? If I kill them early in the morning, will that break that cycle for that run, and then I can't get into that wall? Or maybe if I make it further on and it's later in the night, I might see them in another part of the map, and they may have, like, a case or something they've taken out of the wall. Now if I find them there and kill them, that may be a cool gun or currency or something I can use. And so not only is it time of day dependent, this island is self-contained, and people have routines and things they do. There's these patterns to it. And you ultimately need to learn about these 7 people and kill them. And to, I guess, break the loop, I guess. Yeah. But I played the first hour 20 or so, and it feels really good. The art style is it's made by a company called Arcane. I have a guy I went to college with who works at Arcane.
Yeah.
They have a certain style and a flow to their games. This fits right in. I really like their games, and so Dishonored 2, Prey, the new Prey, not to be confused with the Predator movie. And it feels really good. The art's really interesting. The story so far, again, I'm only an hour into it, is really good. And based on what everybody was talking about at their Game of the Years last year, the time loop mechanic really starts to shine once you start sort of finding these people. If they're a recluse and they're in their house, if you can figure out based on the things you learn, there's always maybe one time of the day they come out to have a cigarette. Well, if you finagle your way to be outside, maybe across a cove area of the island, you might be able to headshot them with a sniper rifle while they're outside of their house. But you have to keep playing these runs and loops and learning new information to make a pattern. And ultimately, I believe, if I figured it out properly, is that your final run will be figuring out from the early morning till the late at night on that day to go and find and kill all 7 of those people throughout the day to ultimately break the loop and then, quote, win the game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really neat. And it's on Game Pass. So if you're an Xbox person, it's on Game Pass, which you can play on the PC or on any of your machines, your Series X or S. And then it turns out that PlayStation has now made a similar subscription type service to Game Pass. It's a little more expensive, but they've now since I should say, added Deathloop to their Netflixy type service. So if you pay for their premium service on PlayStation, you can play Deathloop for basically free. Xbox, the same thing. If you're an Xbox Game Pass person and you play on PC, you should be able to download it there, or you can buy it and play it. So there's a million ways to do it, either for free and or pay for it. So far, I recommend it. And if it's anything like I've been hearing from credible game journalists, that a ton of them have said they really enjoyed it, their time playing it. So again, I'll show a link to a trailer and some fun videos on it in the description down below in the YouTube video, as well as on iTunes. If you go down to the notes, there'll be some clicks there. It'll take you to YouTube, including I will throw my Deathloop gameplay footage link in there as well. So,
okay, there you go.
Pretty cool. Oh, I want to add one thing. I totally forgot about this.
Uh-oh.
So there's a female character that continues to harass you over a radio service type thing. Something she's communicating with you somehow. I can't remember how. The gist of it is she's basically saying, you need to do this, or I'm going to kill you. And so throughout the game, she's going to pop up. She's yet to pop up to purposely kill me in the game, but the computer, the machine, the software is making her pop up to eliminate you, right?
Okay.
And as far as I know, it's definitive. If she pops up, I don't think there's a way to take her out. She kills you, which forcibly starts your run over, and then you have to work your way up again. Yeah. The fun part about this is at the beginning of the game, when you start it, it says break the loop up at the top. But if you pick, there's a choice below it. I think it's called like invade the loop or join the loop or something like that. There's another option, and you're like, what's that? Here's the fun part. Say you beat the game, you've done everything you think you want to do, and then I know you're playing, right?
Yeah.
I can load my game up. Instead of doing the story part, the break the loop part, I can pick the one below it. It will then, I think it lets me pick where I want to go. I know you're playing the game. I can pick your game. It will then bring me in almost like multiplayer, and then I become the female assassin that's hunting you in the story. While you're playing your story, I can invade your game as the assassin and purposely find you, hunt you down, and break your loop.
Okay, see, now you're talking my language. That's something that I would be totally into, and even if it's just not to kill you, just fucking with you would just be so much fun.
Yeah.
Do they do it in your voice, or do they mask it in the voice of the character?
I have yet to play that or join anybody, to mess with anybody. I literally just played for the first time last night, but I don't even know if it lets you speak. I don't even know if it tells you that the assassin that's coming to get you is technically me yet.
Right.
You just assume it's the game doing what it does. What I have heard, however, is after, like, say I break, you want to break the loop, and I stop you from doing it, right? I invade your game, I kill you, and then I force you to start over, right?
Right.
I think at the end of that, there is some sort of function that lets me, like, let you know in the game, like, or it'll say, Xbox gamer tag laws killed you, or something notifies you, like it wasn't the game that did that. That was laws. Laws jumped in and got you. Regardless, I could just text you, be like, "Hey, how'd you like them beans?"
It would be great to just randomly show up in some guy's feed playing the game.
You could do that too.
And do that, but not even like mess with them. Just start unleashing like problems you're having. Just sort of, like Richard Jeni with the referee button, and just like there's no penalty. I didn't stop the game for any reason. I just need to talk and just get on there and just start, just like, man, and just anything, traffic, your love life, whatever it might be, and just go in and just talk. Just try to and force him to listen to you. It's the new form of therapy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Invade other people's games randomly. And then talk and tell them all your troubles.
Exactly.
I don't even know if it opens your mic. Like, I don't even know if it lets you communicate that way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of a fun. There was another game that did it years ago, and I can't think of what it was off the top of my head. But there was another game where you can kind of invade the player's game while they're trying to do stuff.
Okay.
But this one is more upfront. Like, you're actively trying to, quote, break the loop and make it to and get further in the game. And then I could just jump in and break you and make you start your cycle, your run completely over. You could be doing really well. And if I go in and kill you, I totally mess you up and make you start over again. It's kind of a neat mechanic. So even when you're done with the game, you don't necessarily have to be done with the game. You can just go in and mess with people.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah.
Bravo did that.
I almost totally forgot about that. So
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
So
my turn. Then.
your turn.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I just recently attended and got back from the Toronto Film Festival.
Yes, sir.
Which was my first festival since Sundance in 2020, at least out of state, not counting attending my own film festival here in Chicago. But yeah, my first plane ride since January of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think I told you I wasn't sure how I was feeling about it. I'm still, in the mindset that there's stuff out there and people are not being as cautious as they used to be, and I haven't had a booster since November because I haven't qualified for one.
Can I say something just to clarify?
Please? Yes.
I know you didn't mean it this way, but you said I'm of the mindset that stuff is still out there.
It
is out there, and I know you know it. I know we are similar. I'm
of the mindset that I'm still thinking about it and awareness that it is still out there. Yeah, this is not a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Okay? Right. I'm just for everyone who's like criticizing the president for saying the pandemic's over, just like, hey, you know something? If you haven't been wearing a mask for the last several months, you don't get to say shit about that. Okay, he just said out loud what so many people have been saying for months now, or at least acting like. And so don't even play.
And really, again, you want to play semantics. You want to get pedantic about stuff. Yeah, he said over. Doesn't mean over. It just means the 90% worst part of it is over.
We're in the endemic stage of it.
Over doesn't mean over like that over. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And do I still wear a mask pretty much everywhere I go? Yes, I do. Like I am around children who are not eligible to be vaccinated, so I'm very mindful of that. So I'm just, going to another country, going on a plane. I haven't done this for a while. And, this doesn't even matter because the point is that I went and I got there and I spent 4 days in Toronto. And I think I saw 18 movies while I was there in those 4 days. And, I could have chosen a number of movies to talk about here, but I think it's only appropriate that one of the primary reasons I even considered going to Toronto, that they weren't doing a virtual component, it was all in person, wasn't sure if I was going to have a hotel room, that got taken care of, but to not be there for the premiere of the new Steven Spielberg movie, that was like 70% of my just do it, just get out there, once in a lifetime kind of thing. And it paid off in great respect, because I'm going to talk about the movie, which is my choice, which is called The Fabelmans. But I saw it. I wasn't fortunate enough to get a ticket to the premiere of the film, which dashed my schedule a little bit as that happens. But there was a press screening the next morning at 8 a.m., which usually it's 8:30 at the earliest, 9 usually. 8 a.m., okay? Knowing it's the hot ticket, I was up in my hotel at 5 a.m. To make sure I was showered and everything and to go get in line. I was in line by like 6:30, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I was like 7th in line. I probably didn't need to get up.
Wow.
But I was there so I could have my choice of seat, which I got. Anyway, the point of this part of the story being that it was a press screening, and press screening is usually you go in, they don't even have a lot of pre-show stuff. They usually like you're here, here's the movie, blah blah. Okay.
Did you pay? Did you pay for these tickets?
No, I got a press badge. So
promo
button promo. Really, even if I get a press badge to cover the festival,
look, again, you know me. I don't like, but I feel forced to. There's rules, and so even if I go a little bit more. Because I don't want there to be someone later to be like, idiot, we told you. So it says any compensation, I think is the exact wording. Any compensation.
So if I go to a press screening in Chicago,
it's free. Therefore, you were given something that I couldn't have, and it was free.
Yeah.
Therefore, you've been compensated. That's the way I take that word. Now, would 50, like, would a million? Nobody's watching. Hopefully, hopefully a bunch of people are watching. But when they do watch it, is one of those people that probably knows us going to turn around and contact YouTube and be like, hey, you got a free thing and didn't mention it? But I think ethically, somewhere along the line, someone could turn around and be like, well, he said nice things about it, and he never said.
Well, that's my issue. That's a whole other.
The problem is YouTube has, it doesn't say ethics, it just says promotion, and so I think that's their way of saying ethics without making like when a reporter says I did such and such. You're technically reporting on a movie, but you're also giving your opinion. If it's good, someone can turn around and question it. Therefore, it should be open. Blah blah blah. Well, this way you can just click a button.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say anything. You just click a button at the top of the video. It says there was paid promotion. Blah blah blah.
I've seen some of the people who review movies on YouTube. It's funny that the word ethics is involved anyway. In that, but anyway, we digress. But yes, I had a press badge for the event. So press screenings, I can get, an even public screenings. I know publicists, they get me tickets. Can also get them from the press office. That's a whole other story. But anyway, it was a press screening. Like I said, you go to a press and industry screening, as they're called, and you see the movie, and basically just like, okay, the movie's over. Stay for the credits. Don't, but get out. That's it. For this screening of The Fabelmans, after the screening, they had a press conference. And I was expecting, okay, press conference, they're going to put it on the screen, broadcast it in or something like that. Nope. Steven Spielberg, Paul Dano, Seth Rogen in my theater on the little stage. And I got, second time I've been to a screening now with Spielberg feet, away from him. And that was wonderful as well. So that alone paid for my flight. Basically, that was justification for that. As for the movie itself, it's so much of everything that I wanted out of this story. People don't know what this movie is. It's basically the Steven Spielberg origin story, to put it in terms that people might understand these days. And it's a personal autobiographical story. They're not called the Spielbergs in it. They're called the Fabelmans. But it is pretty much, if you know anything about Steven Spielberg, his history. Even if you've just watched the HBO documentary they did about him a couple years ago, which I also highly recommend. A lot of stuff that you saw in there, home video footage, the way that he talks about his mom and his dad, and stories he told about the making of the movies when he was a teenager. It's all in there. And it's this story, not just a thing for Spielberg to get stuff off his chest and to do this as a tribute to his parents as much as himself, as some might say, but it's also this overarching story about how the movies themselves can be used as catharsis. They can be used as catharsis for yourself. They can be used as catharsis towards other people and understanding and feeling empathy for things you may not understand. What someone very close to you might be going through, and a movie can put it into context for you. And sometimes it's just a matter of, in this case, Spielberg or Sammy Fabelman, taking film footage of things around him and coming to some really harsh realizations about the people around him, and then using that to communicate. Spielberg's films are very much about communication, from Close Encounters to E.T. Phone Home to so many films throughout his career. Raiders of the Lost Ark even. What is the Ark? It's a radio for speaking to God. It's a constant theme through his movies, and here the movies themselves become the means of communication between a mother and a son. And watching the film, it was it was strange. It was also a strange experience because not that I am in any way going to compare myself to Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
You're not?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not, because clearly, look where I am. Anyway, it's not a knock on this house. But um but watching things that he went through in high school and how he used movies to make himself feel better and to communicate with the people who thought that he was not deserving of their attention, their friendship, their love, all these things. Man, there's a section of this movie that really just hit me in the nuts, honestly. And there's even a moment in the film, and I couldn't even believe it. And it seems like it's not a stupid thing, but not certainly the way he did it or the way I did it. But there's a moment in the movie where he creates this this film, and because he doesn't have the equipment to attach the sound to the actual film, he has to play the film, and then he has a recorder off the side or tape machine playing the audio and have it synced up that way. That was something I did at one point in high school before I had the equipment and the means to combine video and audio. And it was this stupid thing that I did literally to get some sort of attention and recognition, that I wasn't just, this dipshit kid, in school. And, high school sucked. It sucked. I know we're being positive here, but it sucked, especially freshman and sophomore year. And sophomore year, I edited this entire reel of the history of special effects, going back from like Metropolis up through Star Wars and wherever we were in 89, 90 at that time. And I didn't have the means to put the audio to the video. So what did I do? I brought a tape recorder in, had a soundtrack play while I got my English teacher to play this video for the class. It had nothing to do with anything we were doing. It was just something I got the English teacher to do. And we played this, and of course it gave the kids a day off from English. So, it was a win for everybody. And, people like, well, that was pretty cool. You went and dubbed, it was VHS.
Of course.
Dubbed all this stuff and put it in a very specific order. And even using parallels and stuff between different special effects things, and it was just something I created, and I brought a dual cassette thing in, cassettes, played it, and, voila. And I see that Spielberg, Fabelman, do this in the movie, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like, I didn't, even knowing his history, I didn't even like put those two things together, ironically. But then you see the other innovations that Fabelman Spielberg does when he created some of these movies. The war movie is always famously done the way that he way before Private Ryan, obviously, is where he would have the soldiers running through, and to make it look like the guns were being shot at them or explosions were happening, grenades and stuff like that, he would have these 2x4s buried in the dirt, and the kids of the soldiers would walk by, hit the 2x4s they ran by, and the dirt would fly up in the air like they were being shot at.
Sure.
And it's just, and you see them do that in the movie, and you see them, direct actors, and it's really wonderful. And the way he does a Western in the movie, and the innovation he does to get the gunshots just right in the Western is just fantastic. But it's a story about parents. It's a story about dreams, and the very important thing about communication, the way that movies can be used for good in so many ways. And Michelle Williams, who plays Paul Dano, plays his dad. Michelle Williams plays his mom. Seth Rogen plays the family friend / uncle of the family. Judd Hirsch shows up for 5 minutes in the middle of the movie and just steals the movie. for like 5 minutes. She enters the movie, comes in for 5 minutes, does a monologue, leaves the movie for the rest of the movie. He might get nominated. Michelle Williams, I think I told you this. I texted you this, that after seeing the movie, I said Michelle Williams is going to win supporting actress. It's just going to happen, which is funny considering that she played a character when Michelle Williams really first sort of really burst on the scene, not in Species, but in Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
And she played Jen, who fell in love, or at least dated Dawson, who was this Spielberg-loving guy.
Right, that's true.
And now she's going to win an Oscar for being in an actual Spielberg film. Although this very day, apparently it was just announced that Williams is going to be apparently campaigning for the lead.
Yes.
Best Actress. Could not be a bigger mistake. For one, it's a supporting performance. It has no business being in the lead category. Pretty much everyone in that movie is supporting someone. There's not the kid is probably the lead in the movie, and he only shows up about 40. The teenage version of him shows up about 45 minutes into the movie. So her campaigning for lead actress, it's a wrong category, and she was a lock. I think she was a lock to win.
Supporting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she will still win lead. I don't know. I haven't looked at the field that much of what might be coming out down the pike, but she would have won supporting actress if her people left her there. So that's a mistake. But that's about one of the only flaws I have about the Fabelmans is their Oscar campaigning right now. It opens in November, limited on the 11th, and I think everywhere Thanksgiving week. So the Fabelmans, I mean, please.
Yeah, I can't. I'd have to go back to look at the notes, but I don't know if you've brought up Spielberg just as one of your things, him as a person.
I have not.
Yeah,
No.
I'm sure he will be. Actually, your one in a theme is very similar to what I'm going to be talking about here in a bit. But yeah, I can't think of a stinker in the bunch of anything he's ever really done. And once you told me the premise of this movie, I thought that was interesting. And everything can be fiction and out of this world and supernatural or whatever, all that kind of stuff, but a very personal story, how much more personal than a semi-autobiographical account of what made you right. And especially one of the, again, I can't imagine anyone fighting it, but probably one of the top 5 or top 10 directors ever in the history of movies. It's got to be interesting. And then it's coming from him.
Right.
So it's even more personal. It's not just someone trying to do his origin. It's literally him doing it. That's a neat premise. He did 8mm, right?
No.
No, that's right. Well, the kids.
Super 8.
Super 8.
He produced that movie. It was an Amblin production.
That's right.
His name was on it. He was an executive producer, but J.J. Abrams directed that movie.
That's right.
Yeah, 8mm, much different movie.
Yeah. Is that like the sex crime one?
The snuff movie.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, not 8mm. Yeah, Super 8. Yeah. So yeah, he didn't. That's right, in Abrams. But it in a sense that was it was Abrams kind of talking more about a fictional. Obviously, there's aliens, but
Abrams clearly made a Spielberg movie. Abrams Spielberg movie, and
it's about kids making a movie with a camera. It was very sort of. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I recommend that one too. That movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Spielberg will at some point probably be one of my 3.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine. What was the last movie he did? I'm trying to think of it.
Was it The Post? Hold on. Let me look at my library. No, West Side Story, of course.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
West Side Story just came out last year. Well, it was delayed. It was supposed to come out 2020. You haven't seen that yet, right?
No.
It's a must. I
Well,
caught it on cable a few months back again, and I know of musicals, I know, but it's
we're not singing and dance. We're not singing and dancing in this house, but the themes are a little on the nose.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think you will find additional enjoyment.
Yeah.
In that as well. Yeah.
I wonder. Have you checked? Is it streaming anywhere?
What's on Disney Plus?
Is it okay? Easy enough then. Good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to pull that up. Maybe we'll watch that this
I
weekend.
think it's Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure it's Disney Plus. If it's not, it's Hulu. It's one of those. I think it's Disney Plus because it's a 20th Century Fox release, or it's supposed to be. So.
I still think they haven't pulled everything Fox related back to Disney Plus yet.
They haven't, but I think all of the newer stuff. Not that there's a lot of it,
right?
But I think all of the newer stuff is. I mean, like Death on the Nile and that type of stuff. I'm gonna look this up right now because this is important information. Your listeners should have. F you. You change your password 8 billion times in these stupid things.
Watch your glasses. There's a nice glare.
Is it?
Yeah,
really?
I can. Nice reflection.
Really?
Password. Jackassathon.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. No, it's all encoded here.
Encoded.
Yeah. So. Yes, it's on Disney Plus.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
Easy enough.
That's right.
And it's got Rita Moreno.
It does.
Yeah.
A little hot, spicy number.
That's right. My number 2, like I said, the theme would be fairly similar. This person I've talked about once before, similar. Mm-hmm. And this item I'm going to talk about is a work of this person's.
Okay.
But this person and what they do will most likely be one of my things at some point. But as far as comic book stuff goes, there's a guy who burst on the scene years ago. Comic book art went from rudimentary, pencils and stick-on color before it was printed and all that kind of stuff to computer coloring and all that. Until a guy by the name of Alex Ross really made his style very popular. As a matter of fact, one of his first things was a cover for the Terminator comic book. He even hid his little name in the art. But basically, he's a painter by trade. His mother was an illustrator for, I want to say, fashion magazines, but she's a classically trained artist, and he learned from her. But he used that knowledge in the way he has a very, I wouldn't say mid-century modern style, but it's old school art, but used for fantastical stuff. I mean, Frank Frazetta, Death Dealer, and Drew that did all the movie posters. It was a more modern take on classic illustration, stuff like that. But anyway, he paints. I didn't think to bring anything down here. When I talk about him, I will show a bunch of stuff. But when I say paint, I wish I had. I don't think any of these clicks have a Ross. Anyway, he paints, and it's fantastic. It changed that style of comic book. A lot more comic book covers are of the painted variety, especially when they want to make something look really glitzy and glamorous, and it's because of Alex Ross. So he's been doing it for 20, 30 years at this point, probably closer to 30. But he recently came back to Marvel and has been doing stuff for them. And for years, he would show these concept drawings that he had of sort of redoing the Fantastic Four's costumes and sort of pitching Marvel on, well, what if I did a Fantastic Four book? And I don't think they ever really jumped at him. But recently they announced that, I don't know if this is all from some of those sketches, but they let him sort of flesh the story out and do a story, self-contained. I guess you would call this more traditionally what they call a graphic novel. This didn't come out in issues like weekly or monthly. This came out as a hardcover book. And instead of it being his traditional full-brushed, full sort of photorealistic painting, and when I say photorealistic, I mean photorealistic, it is definitely his penciled art, but he uses sort of this, again, mid-century modern black light poster. I don't want to say monochrome because that would be too singular, obviously mono, but it's color themed, I guess would be the right word. So the cover is like this.
Oh, that's nice.
Fantastic Four Full Circle. It's called by Alex Ross, and even his new sort of trademarked logo for his name is very mid-century modern. But as you can see on the back, that's what the art looks like. It's very, these big brash colors. It's not photorealistic. The drawn art is very mid-century modern magazine style drawing, but it's this, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very big swaths of similar color as opposed to, like I said, that photorealistic look. And it's, let me find a nice good splash page. Again, for you listening, this is going to be hard to see, but as you can see, it's not painted either. It's more almost like a colored pencil rendering in his painted style, but it looks almost more like a colored pencil. He filled in his inks with, like you or I would, with a colored pencil as opposed to using watercolor or other traditional oils. It's just very different from what he normally does, and they let him do a complete story. Like I said, it's a sleeved hardcover book with a nice shiny logo and these big, huge headshot photos of the team. And again, this is only 2 colors, so it's, when I talk about him at some point in the future, I'll show you some more, you know, crazy photorealistic stuff. But this is a really, really well done, really, really neat story. Very cool that they let him do it. And I can't say enough about, they let him also write it, which is a new thing. He has done some short stories, you know, a couple pages here and there. Yeah. But this is his love. He grew up reading comics. He grew up looking at his mom's art. And this is, I believe, his first full, just him doing the art, penciling, drawing, coloring, and writing. And it's not super thick. It's a short read. It's more of an art piece, so much so that I've never seen this imprint before, so this is probably the first book they've done. It's literally, it says up here Marvel, but it says Marvel, I don't know if you can kind of make that out. It says Marvel Arts. Oh. And so this might be a new imprint they're doing where it's more sort of creator, like more like a coffee table book, more of an art piece. Yes, there's a story to it, but it's, he did something similar to this for DC. One was Wonder Woman, one was Batman, one was Shazam, one was Superman, that kind of stuff. He did one of each, and there were these big magazine format. There was another probably 3-4 inches. Those were painted, though. Yeah. This is different. And I just appreciated the new art. I appreciated this new style. This is something I want to, like, put up to, you know, not just shove in a box somewhere or get, you know, slabbed and graded. Like, this is, you want to leave this out. You want to let people see that. Look at that gorgeous art. You want to let people just, you know, flip the pages and look at
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Yeah, you almost don't care about the story.
Yeah, I mean, I could just look at pages of this stuff all day long.
Sure.
And, yeah, I just can't. Again, it's very hard because it's a visual thing. It's very hard for a audio podcast, but on video, if you're only listening to this audio, pull it up on YouTube and you can see a picture of it. But yeah, you can look it up. You can get it from any of your finer bookstores and all that other stuff. But I would prefer you go to Dreamland Comics in Libertyville, Illinois, and ask for Charlie and say hello. Eric on Ain't This the Fun told you to go there. Again, I did not get this for free. I paid for this. Yeah, I just if you've never read an Alex Ross book, what I should say is seen one because he does the art.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cool ones out there. Marvels for Marvel, Kingdom Come for DC. These, I think they were called Justice for DC. These individual pieces, Batman and Superman, the individual ones. He's also done some Sequel art or prints of Marvel characters, which this one is real quick, I'll show you this again. This is basically their one-page art prints that are origin stories in a poster, basically, is the only way to describe it. So he's done them for DC. Those were in those Justice-style books.
Yeah.
The individual character ones, right? Each one had that first page that was like a little quick origin to kind of get you in. Marvel liked them so much, they must have commissioned them. I have art prints of the Marvel ones. So there's like a Captain America one, a Spider-Man one, I think. I have a couple upstairs. Mm-hmm. He did one for this book in the style of those other ones for the Fantastic Four. So imagine this as a poster. Let me flip that. There you go. Mm. This is their full origin on a 2-page, which would be a normal poster size, 2 foot by 3 foot, in a single image. All you need to know. Boom, done. He's mastered the art of distilling it down to the essence of why you should love these characters. 50, 60, 70, 80 years of comic book lore is condensed to a single image with his paint. This is his art style right here. This painted one. I'm going to get it as close as I can. Look at that. That is beautiful. And the way he styles these are all very similar. Kind of a top image leading up to a character piece there at the corner. So yeah, I recommend you get it. It's a fun read. It looks amazing. Put this thing on your coffee table anytime. I mean, if you have any comic book fans, let them flip through it, read it. The cool thing about this is, I believe right now they're soliciting for, I think it's November or December of this year. I think he might only be doing the covers, but Marvel has now gotten him to start doing the Fantastic Four as a monthly. So I think he's only doing covers, and he might be doing some additional stuff. I wish I'd looked this up before I started this, but I think they knew what they saw once they got this from him, and they said, we got to get him doing more Fantastic Four artwork. Plus, the movies, greenlit, so they're getting the force behind that, and who better than to let this guy show everybody just how cool these characters can be after those Fox movies,
Right.
But yeah, very cool.
Very good. Yeah, I mean that artwork is so cool. It actually makes me interested in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it just, and that, I know Alex Ross's work to an extent. At the very least, you've seen that my screensaver for my computer is the Flash Gordon mural, basically, that he did, which is amazing. It's so fantastic. It has not left my screensaver for a long time. So yeah, that's pretty. And I really miss that type of movie poster, the painted, the Drew Struzan and like you said, Alex Ross and the kind of stuff. But I just got this today. This isn't one of my 3, but it's kind of in that realm. Just it's colored and it feels big kind of thing. And war pictures used to love to do it. It'd be the heroes and the woman and there's guns and explosions and planes and all that kind of stuff. It'd be like this curved thing, you see on the side of the poster with like all the heroes and villains all on one side. Even Star Wars,
Oh yeah.
was so great at doing that kind of stuff. But like something like this, that just kind of there's a bigness to it and whatnot, colorful and whatnot. I just got this today, so I'm not commenting on that yet. But is there something on the inside here? Oh shit.
He also did inserts for Unbreakable, and I think he also then did them for the other one. Very cool. That's a neat design in general because you flip it up and it makes it into a poster.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it has the War of the Worlds, one of my favorite science fiction movies, and When Worlds Collide. It's a George Pal double feature, War of the Worlds in 4K.
Oh wow!
So I'm so looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah. Alex Ross is great. One of these days, like you said, it's Spielberg kind of thing. I mean, I can't draw for crap, at least realistic wise. I can cartoon a little bit, but looking at his stuff, just I'm in awe every time I see something new he does, and I was really looking forward to this. I know one of the things I was looking forward to that I mentioned a few times back was a calendar that they greenlit that I think it's Marvel. But anyway, it's got all 12 months, but the idea is when you're done with the 12 months, if you unflip it, it turns into a massive 6-foot by 3-foot wall poster.
Right.
With his art as a poster now. So you use it as a calendar, and then it turns into a poster. And I'm looking forward to that as well. So when that comes out, maybe I'll use that as a springboard to talk about him. I'll bring all the stuff. I have action figures based off his stuff. I have posters and prints and all kinds of. It's fantastic. So, yep.
Yeah, well, that's great. Okay, my number 2 is not quite as lofty or personal. Maybe a little bit personal.
Okay.
But you remember the last time we talked on this format? One of the things I brought up was a new dessert that I had discovered, which was the icy float.
I found them, by the way. Not in the store, but I found them online. I still can't find them in the store. Did you get them at Jewel?
Jewel.
Okay, I'll have to look there.
I just actually restocked yesterday on them. And the people, just a reminder what the icy float is: basically a push-up, but with blue. At least the one that I have is a blue raspberry with vanilla in it. So it's like you push up like a freeze pop or a push-up. And it's a perfect little dessert treat for you.
By the way, they come in what's the lemonade? You get the frozen lemonade. There's another fancy word for it. Italian ice.
Italian ice, yeah.
Yeah, like Italian ice in a cup.
Yeah.
Icy makes that exact icy float you're talking about, not only in raspberry but two flavors.
Yeah.
I found. And it makes them in 2 different versions. The push pop version you're talking about, and then in a cup, like an Italian ice. I don't know where you can find them, but I found them online.
I haven't seen those.
Look them up online. So they have 2 different flavors and 2 different formats of those 2 different flavors.
I'm still looking for pizza in a cup. If you ever come upon that, since I saw the jerk, I've been looking for pizza in a cup. Because that was just the most amazing thing. If we were doing this show when I was 5 years old, pizza in a cup would be the thing I'm most looking forward to.
Have you ever had fake tacos in a bag?
What?
Tacos in a bag?
No, that sounds terrible.
You take a bag of the 99-cent, not the lunchbox ones, but the 99-cent Frito bag.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can use Doritos too, but Fritos are better. You open up the bag.
Okay.
Then you take ground beef. Ground beef, you throw that in there, cheese, lettuce, tomato, then you shake the bag. Yeah. And then you eat it out of the bag.
I can't remember. One of the things I actually brought up a few weeks ago, there was a movie called Vengeance, the B.J. Novak film.
Yeah.
And one of the things he as a podcaster, when he goes down to Texas, he discovers the local things, the things that they really enjoy. And one of the things, I can't remember what he called it, and the Texans are going to just beat me up for this. Is that it's a Frito. He opens up a bag of Fritos and he puts either like barbecue sauce or something in there, and it becomes like chili Fritos or something. along it might have been chili.
You could do chili too,
think,
but
yeah.
you could do tacos. Just taco
Yeah.
meat, cheese, lettuce, whatever you want to put in there
Whatever
to make
you
your
put on
meal.
taco, yeah.
Salsa.
But pizza in a cup, that's what we should be working on right now.
That's right.
Oh,
Whole chain,
man.
pizza in a cup.
Pizza in a cup. It'd be, you know, put the old pizza cup guy in a business. But
Excuse me.
So anyway, new dessert that I discovered. And here at the new house, there's been a place that I've been meaning to visit for a while and just haven't gotten it. It's always, you know, especially during the summer, it was always crowded. It was always very busy. Almost looked like a hangout type place. Like people just love going there. Okay. And it's a place called Andy's Frozen Custard. Okay. And, you know, custard, yogurt, ice cream, whatever it might be, as long as it's cool and refreshing, it doesn't matter. But I had weeks ago when I was setting up, or I went to a new bowling league meeting because Oak Grove Bowl is now completely demolished.
I saw the pictures. It's depressing.
It is depressing, actually. So I had to, you know, new league house and went to a meeting several weeks ago, and it's, you know, we're right down the street from me. And on the way back, I'm just like, well, you know, there's some talk about ice cream, so I'm gonna try this Andy's Frozen Custard. Didn't know what they had, really, what I was in the mood for. Even a sundae, a cone, I wasn't quite sure, but I wanted to, you know, check it out. And they have a drive-through, so I go through the drive-through, and you know, frequently in drive-thrus they got the little signs, little advertisements for some of the things that they have before you actually get to the giant menu. And it was there that I saw the new love of my life in the thing. And I'm just like, this couldn't possibly be as good as it sounds, right? But you know, first attempt through the, you know, into the breach here. Let's see how this turns out. And they have an item at Andy's Frozen Custard that I know the next time you're in this area, you might have to stop by and try yourself.
Okay.
It is simply called a root beer freeze.
Oh.
And I got a regular root beer freeze, and the only thing bad about the regular root beer freeze is that I didn't get the large. Because it went so quickly. I savored every moment of it because basically what it is a root beer shake. And I haven't had a root beer shake in way too long. Way too long. You could have found them at one point at A&W at Woodfield Mall. They, you know, had an ice cream shop, ice cream parlor on the side of them that you could get a root beer shake there. But where we would frequently get it was at a place called Tasty Dog.
Yes.
Shake of the week. They would have a shake of the week, and they had many delicious shakes of the week. They had a black cherry one. I think the raspberry one at some point. The black cherry was particularly good, but you know, anytime I pull in that drive-through to get a chicken sandwich, because I didn't like their hot dogs, weirdly enough. It's weird. They tasted like the boiled stuff you get at grade school during hot dog. Didn't like it. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. But everything else I enjoyed. Hamburgers are good. The chicken sandwich was good, and the shake of the weeks were fantastic. But the hot dogs, no. Whatever. But the root beer shakes, heaven, and it was amazing. And Andy's Frozen Custard has the root beer freeze. I haven't been back there to get one. I'm afraid to keep going because it might turn into a problem. So there's discipline involved. But,
sure.
I highly recommend the next time you are in this area. It's right up the street. It's right, you know, it's not far from here. It's a wonderful concoction, and you'll be smiling all the way home.
So is the consistency more like an actual shake, or
it's not quite?
Or is it more like a frosty, like from a Wendy's? Like
no,
too pre-mixed.
No. I would say, I mean, because you drink it like a shake. It wasn't something that I would spoon up.
Okay.
Like a frosty. Okay. It wasn't quite as thick as a shake, but it wasn't like very runny either. So it was like somewhere in the middle between like a root beer float and a shake.
Perfect.
Somewhere right in the middle of that. Yeah, so it wasn't like something, your eyeballs are gonna pop out trying to suck the thing out of the. I'm doing that motion again.
Yeah.
But the root beer freeze.
Well, that's how good it was.
That's how good it was. It made me want to just. It's so good.
McDonald's and Portillo's, as much as I love, well, more so Portillo's. I mean, their shakes are ungodly decadent. I mean, they're crazy thick, and they Portillo's, they shove a whole piece of cake in it. So like, it's crazy how good they are. But I mean, those are done. I love the idea like, oh, a shake isn't a good shake till you can almost not get it up the straw. And I'm like, look, I appreciate the thought of it. Yeah. Like it's so damn thick and rich that you can't get it up the straw. But
right.
I don't need to fight my shake. Like I want to enjoy it.
No.
So, but that's the other. When I would go to Denny's, long time ago, our friends and stuff. I think maybe even you went a couple times before we stopped going.
Yeah.
But there was a wonderful waitress there, and they had shakes, chocolate shakes, vanilla shakes, but they also had root beer. And this wonderful woman was so sweet to me. I said, look, can you just make me a root beer shake? She's like, we don't have those. I said, you have root beer and you have ice cream.
Yeah.
And they handmade them. So it wasn't like it came out of a machine. So it's not like she had to tear the machine apart or anything. I just said, instead of putting the chocolate in, can you just put some root beer in it and just blend it that way? She's like, oh, I never thought of that. So then it became a thing. Every time we would go there, I said, can I have the root beer shake? Yeah. And she would go and hand make me, as far as I knew, I was the only person, hand make me a root beer shake. She was so awesome. She was the sweetest ever. And of course we tip really good and everything. But that was perfect because it was real vanilla ice cream, not some garbage. And I'm assuming they had A&W root beer there because that's probably what they had.
Yeah.
So it was good, but it was that perfect consistency. Wasn't too thick, wasn't too thin. She made it just right. And I've been searching for that because you can't just go
No.
This woman was awesome. Like, you can't just go into a restaurant. You can't be like, hey, can you make me a root beer shake? They'd be like, what do you, get the hell out of here. But because she was so cool and we would go there so often, we became friendly. And so, if I could find a place that consistently had, like Tasty Dog would eventually have, now that you told me this might be a problem for me. I mean, I may be searching this out in the middle of the night.
It's in their shake menu on the menu. It's under shakes, malts, and more, and it's very simple. The explanation is very simple: vanilla frozen custard blended with your favorite soda. Boom.
Problem solved.
Boom. Yeah. No, I mean it is. I was just like, this is it. This is it right here. This is what I've been searching for all my life. So
wow.
Yeah, root beer, or you can, and it's actually root beer or cream soda freeze. Cream soda's delish.
That's interesting.
Yeah, might try that at some point. But
see, people think that's weird because you have root beer float, and people go ew, or they go, I don't know if I really like root beer. As far as I know, one of the primary ingredients in getting your root beer flavor, or at least a really good, proper root beer, is vanilla.
Of course.
So it's actually one of the few things that actually really makes sense to be mixed with a proper, good quality vanilla ice cream.
Right.
It's literally meant to kind of go together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
It's one of those things. I mean, I suppose. I mean, the concept of someone not liking a root beer float is kind of alien to me. In the same way that I'm sure that a lot of people who would just eat American cheese when they were 3 years old is alien to me because I think American cheese is the devil's smegma. And so I've had root beer floats since I was a kid, and it just felt normal to me. And I have them. I haven't had one in a while. It sounds pretty good. I should go get one right now.
There you go.
But they're a perfect little trio. The only thing is weirdly enough, they make you really thirsty. At least me. Ice cream makes me thirsty, even with all the root beer there. Like, cause I eat all the ice cream and then I drink the root beer. I'm like, damn it, I'm thirsty now.
That's interesting. I've never gotten thirsty after eating ice cream.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get any kind of ice cream concoction, especially with like hot fudge or chocolate or something like that. I get very thirsty.
Some people go the opposite way with like people that absolutely, we know someone like this,
Hmm.
absolutely can't eat chocolate chip cookies without absolutely having to have a glass of milk with it. That
Well,
I
that's me too.
yeah
I'm up in that camp. Yeah, any
I could
kind
give
of
or take it.
cookies, cupcake, anything with frosting or dry cake attached to it. Milk is just the perfect complement to it.
I
Like you
get
ever,
it, but I
yeah.
think because I don't like milk.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, I don't look weird at people who like cheeseburgers, but American cheese comes off the devil's dick. So
Well, yeah, but you don't. Hold on. There needs to be some
yeah.
clarification there because you just don't like cheese.
No, I don't like American cheese.
No, because if you get a cheeseburger with cheddar on it, you still don't want it.
No, I don't want that.
See, it's
Yeah,
all cheeses.
but it's not all cheeses. What's my favorite restaurant?
No, no, I understand. You will eat a
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah, and lasagna and chicken or veal parmesan. Okay.
That's why it still makes no sense to me that you won't have it on a burger or other stuff.
Well, I'm not your problem to be solved.
Like chicken parm, as long as it's in sauce, then it changes it.
No, because I mean the sauce complements the chicken and the cheese. I don't have a problem with that. I could even eat like if you have someone makes like a big pan of like a baked spaghetti and they put like a layer of cheese
Yeah.
over it. I don't like. I mean, if it's like caked
Oh,
cheese,
that's
I know
good.
you. Okay, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. But if it's just kind of like sprinkled in there and whatnot, I don't. Dry cheese can kiss my ass. Okay.
What do you mean dry cheese?
I'm talking like uncooked cheese.
Like a slice of a good slice of of a medium sharp cheddar cheese. You would not eat
Asshole.
that.
No,
Oh, so good.
no, cold cheese.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm horny for cheese, but cheese is
Oh,
good.
Jesus Christ.
Cheese is
Uh,
good.
no, it's not.
Cheese
It's
on
not.
anything, almost anything, cheese works.
I know. You people with the cheese. It never ends. Jackie Child, Seinfeld. Um, yeah, it's just like they make those things for kids with like the roll of cheese and whatnot, and they eat it.
Roll of cheese.
Well, it's not a roll of cheese. It's not like a fruit roll up.
Are you talking string cheese?
Not just string cheese, but not there is string cheese, but like they put them in like little like Lunchables type thing, like a
Okay.
package or whatnot, and like you want a thing of cheese, and it looks like a joint, and it's just cheese.
So it's almost like a piece of cheese in a wrapper, but they roll it?
It's not even a wrap. It's just a round piece of cheese.
I don't know what
What?
I don't know what Lunchables you're talking. I have never seen that.
I think it's called joint cheese. You share it with people.
It's just got a little bit of THC in it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheese on tacos? No.
That's
Cooked or not? No.
technically that's actually not a real authentic taco anyway. But
I don't give a shit.
no, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that's what cheese actually technically isn't supposed to be on a taco.
Am I not allowed to call it a taco?
No, I just a traditional real proper taco is whatever your protein is, cilantro and onions.
Wonderful.
So the way you don't like cheese, it's
Yeah.
fitting. It's very American to throw a pound of cheese on your taco and everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, but I love it. Cheese is great.
That's great. I'm happy for you.
I'll have to go to Andy's Frozen Custard, get a root beer float, and a pound of sharp cheddar cheese.
Just get the fucking joint cheese that you're talking about. Look for
I
that.
still have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't even know what kind of cheese it is. I'm sure that every cheese loving maniac right now who's watching this at any point knows what I'm talking about.
I know in Lunchables they have squares of cheese or round pieces of
It's not
cheese.
square, but it's just like it looks. It's like yay high, and it's just a round little white piece of cheese.
I'll have to find it.
It's white. White cheese.
Sure.
I don't know what cheese is.
You don't know. You don't know what cheese is.
No, I don't know what cheese. I don't know my cheeses. Plurals I like moose.
Well, here's the thing: is I say I like all cheeses, but I like
Yeah.
a lot of cheese.
You like Limburger?
I was gonna say when they start getting a little too fancy.
They get artisan.
Now, again, I can appreciate it when it's done right. Like if if you eat like a proper wheat cracker, and then if you use this kind of cheese, maybe put a little tomato on it or whatever, like that, then it becomes good. But like people, like I'm not a fan of brie, but people are like, oh, big old scoop of brie. Everyone's got their thing, but cheese in general, all kinds of cheeses on stuff.
Yeah,
I'll even do. I don't know how many. I'm sure a lot of people do this, but I don't know. For me, if I make myself a sandwich, I will put a piece of cheese. Like say, I'll put like a Munster on the top, meat, whatever else I like on my sandwich, and then I'll put like if I have a cheddar in the house or I have a jalapeno, jack or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll throw a slice of that too. So two completely different competing cheeses on a sandwich. Because more cheese.
Sure. That's wonderful.
Grilled cheese?
I've had weird arcs with grilled cheese in the past. Like, there was a time that I didn't like them. I mean, that's American cheese you normally putting on.
Sure. Unless you do it right. You get a proper cheddar or something.
Yeah. And there was a time that someone gave me a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm like, that's actually done really well. And I think it was more the way that they cooked the bread.
Sure.
The actual cheese taste of it. I think that the compliment worked for me. Because then the next time I had one, someone made it for me. I'm like, no, I don't like that. Because it was too cheesy.
Good tomato bisque. Dip the... Oh, so good.
I like tomato bisque. I don't care for chunks of tomatoes. The tomato comes right off the sandwich. BLTs, no tea.
So BLs.
Adam, I just had BLs last night.
You know what BLs cause?
BMs.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yep.
Yeah. It goes good with BMs or
X-Lax.
I meant BLTs. I got BMs on the bed.
Yes.
There you go. BLTs. It goes in root beer shakes.
Root beer shakes. Yeah. Andy's frozen custard. Several locations, but one not far from where I live. So it's in your area.
In your area.
Yeah.
My number 3 is interesting, I think, for you in particular. I talk about games on here. I know you're not a big gamer.
I'm not. It's not that I'm not a gamer. I just don't have the time.
A big gamer.
I don't mean that in a negative way either.
No.
I don't have time.
I know you appreciate the idea of the art form, and we played plenty. It's
I enjoy
I get
it when I play it. I just wish I had more time to play.
Colin, who was on here, I was talking about a particular game there, and he even mentions, I haven't played them in a long. I know things have advanced, and I don't even know where to jump in now. And when we were done, I told him, I said, if you're thinking about kind of jumping in, there's some less heavy, monetary ways to jump in. Don't go throwing out $500, $600 for a brand new PlayStation or an Xbox. There are other ways to play some games, or I can recommend some that I think you might appreciate, so you're not just hunting and pecking trying to find something. Two things have happened since then. One is, of all the people to get into quote-unquote gaming, and me talking about Xbox Game Pass being the, quote, Netflix of games, Netflix has gotten into gaming. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yes, but I didn't look far into it. But I was aware.
So I recently streamed a game called I'll get the name of it here in a second. But it's the sequel to FTL, Faster Than Light. Faster Than Light. It's called FTL, and it's sort of a spaceship management game. And Into the Breach is what it's called. Into the Breach. And it was out on the PC for the longest time. And what Netflix did as part of their new initiative is they've been buying up these smaller games. Mm-hmm. These sort of mini golf games, or a, solitaire game, and then they'll slap a Stranger Things theme on it, or, this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
they've been picking up these sort of not lower tier in quality, but lower tier price-wise games from the computer and, quote, publishing them or making them available to Netflix users for free. And when I streamed Into the Breach, I showed how you go about getting into that for free if you're a Netflix subscriber and pulling up some of these games and playing them. People don't even know that they can play free games because you're a Netflix subscriber. One of the games that they have done this with was this Into the Breach. It's like a little mini sort of chess strategy game with mechs, you know, like big robots and stuff. What they've done is they've gone into business with a guy named Sam Barlow. He has a studio called Half Mermaid. And he's traditionally become famous because he did a game years ago called Her Story. He followed that up with a game called Telling Lies. And what they are is a sort of modern take on, do you remember those VCR games you could buy when we were kids?
I have many of them in my basement.
There you go.
VCR Quarterback, Sherlock Holmes 221B Baker Street.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
So it's sort of in that vein. Imagine that mixed with it a more detailed, more intense choose-your-own-adventure. Her Story won a lot of awards because it was really the first modern... I think these people forgot about those VCR games when we were kids, but in essence, it's what it was, but it hung its hook on this. Here's how Her Story was, and then I'll lead into what happened recently. Her Story was, it's not a found footage game. The idea is you're investigating this woman, and the only thing you have is a computer that has access to all of her interrogation videos at a police station. And by using this fake search capability, you would put in keywords. So say you would say like car. Or you find out her name, so you say, you know, whatever, Betsy's car. It would filter out through the footage, and it would say these three pieces of footage mention Betsy's car.
Okay.
So then it'd look like a fake file system, and you would click on it, and then it would play that portion of the interrogation video where this woman may have mentioned Betsy's car or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And as that's all it shows you. And then you go, in the midst of her talking about Betsy's car, she'd be like, yeah, well, you know, it wouldn't have happened if Steve hadn't kept his mouth shut. And so you're sitting there, you're like, okay. And then you're like, oh, so she mentioned a guy named Steve. Maybe I should search for Steve. Type in Steve. And then it would, anything that said Steve. And then you could go through those videos. And you pieced it out by thinking about what she's talking about. You're listening for keywords and clues, and then you're using it to find more footage in this inventory system with this search engine. So that was kind of the way that one was structured. Telling Lies is more like what we're doing. Imagine like a conference call on a video software, and it's of a similar vein where you're kind of watching this video, but you're deducing things. It's not a video game. You're not getting a score. You're not going through an environment and shooting things, or you don't have to be dexterous. You don't have to. No, you don't have to use your dexterity. Dexterous. I'm making that word up. You
Dexter kill people.
It doesn't take dexterity. You don't have to spin your camera around and shoot people very quickly or anything. It's more of an experience that has minor gameplay elements, similar to those old VCR games when we were kids, or reading a choose-your-own-adventure book. Where do I want to go? This video conferencing sequel kind of thing, use similar. There's footage, and you're kind of doing stuff with the footage to kind of see what's going on with all the people in these video conference calls. So would I call it a game in the traditional sense of video game? I would still call it a game because it has controls and you're using a controller, but it's I would really more call it an experience.
Okay.
And that's not reductive. I'm not trying to say it's a piece of crap because of it or whatever. It's just when I say video game to you, you think River Raid, you think Doom,
River Raid.
you know, whatever.
River Raid.
Yeah, you think Doom, you think Halo, you think whatever, right?
Yeah.
I would
Circus Atari.
Yeah. So those are the things. So anyway, if I explain those two things either way, you can kind of picture it in your head, right?
Yeah.
Well, the new game that's come out that Netflix Game Pass has secured, big surprise, game because he won awards, and so, hey, look, let's jump in on this. There's that. Netflix is publishing it on everything but the Xbox, so if you are on Steam, which is the PC store there's a bunch of places, but Steam is one. Also on, I believe it's out for on the iPad now. I'm not quite sure if it's been released yet or not. But like Into the Breach, I have a little dongle here that I can plug into my capture card. And you can dongle out of your iPad onto a television through HDMI, or in this case through my computer, and it was up on the screen using this little dongle. Or you can just play right on your iPad, right?
Yeah.
You go to the iPad store or Steam, you download it, or the Xbox, and not on the Xbox, but on the computer now and on the iPad, when you boot the new game up, it literally has a Netflix logo. They published it. And then it makes you sign. So you can download it for free because how else are you going to get it downloaded, right?
Yeah.
But in order to play any of these Netflix games, once they boot, it brings you to your Netflix screen and says, please sign in. It won't let you play it for free, obviously, until you sign into your Netflix account. Then it becomes free to you.
Yeah.
So the new game is called, so that's how you can do it if you want to do this. If you don't have an Xbox, you can literally do it on your computer. You download it at Steam, you download it on your iPad, you sign in, and it's free. You can do it right now. And technically, it's on PC Game Pass on Xbox, which you are a member of. You can play it, quote, in the cloud. So on PC, you can go to xbox.com/xcloud, sign into your Xbox account, and you can stream the game over the computer and control the stream of it. So here it is. It's called Immortality. Mrs. Fun and I told her the premise, and she's like, oh, I'd really like to see that. And I said, well, when I come home from work, do you want to kind of do it together? And she's like, yeah. So I downloaded it, we started. The premise of this one is and I think you'll get this on a lot of levels. It is about an actress over a period of 30 years who only made 3 movies, but through different coincidences, different circumstances, none of the 3 movies ever made it out.
Okay.
Different circumstances all around. As a matter of fact, I think the second one, because the director died or something, and then something happened, right?
Yeah.
So they give you, when the game starts, they give you one piece of footage, and it's a fake sort of Johnny Carson show, and he's talking to the actress in, like, 1967. And it's right as the first movie's supposed to be released. So she's doing her interviews, right? And her promotion. And they give you about, I want to say about 45 seconds of the interview. And he talks about how hard it was, or this or the other, you know, like, oh, this is your first film, and this and that. And the footage sort of, it just stops, right? And you're like, okay. It brings up sort of VCR-style controls. You can then jog shuttle or scrub through that 45 seconds of video using the controller or the keyboard on your computer or just with your finger on the iPad.
Yeah.
And you can scrub through the video. Instead of using a search keyword feature like in the first game or the other feature, which was in Telling Lies, this is using contextual stuff. So while you're watching the video, when he asked her that one weird question, she made kind of a face, and she touched her mouth. If you hit the pause button on that frame, or scrub to that frame, or around that time period, You can move the cursor over her lip or over her watch because it's in screen. Say it's her lip. She touches her lip. If it highlights, you can click on it. So now if you click on her lip, in the sort of Avid main screen, right? So you have a bunch, you only have one little frame of this interview. Once you click on the lips, it will randomly give you another piece of footage that features a lip or lips prominently. This footage could come from any of 5 or 6 different things. 1, any of the 3 movies. Or audition footage. Or read-through footage. Like someone's video camera. Or interviews. Or real life, like sort of vlogging, like someone was just at a party and they're talking to the actors at a party. You don't know what you're going to get. It's totally random. But once you do that and it brings up this other video with this lip, now she, instead of her talking with this sort of interview guy, it plays a clip from the second movie that didn't get released. And you're like, okay, well, that's weird. That was 8 years later. Why are they showing me this footage? She's talking to a director. You realize the director of the second movie was the principal AD on the first movie.
Okay.
And then he says his name, and when you go, oh, there's a dude in the room. It's not the interviewer. As the scene plays out, you could stop it at anywhere in that frame. Well, if you stop it on him and you click on his face, it may now play a video from them doing a script reading for the first movie where him as the AD is now arguing with the director of the first movie. Because he's in both. Well, if you click on that same actor again, or the same AD who became a director, if you click on him again, it may show you another video of him and a different actor talking about them having to frame a shot. The idea is, eventually, if you once you get through all this stuff, you are, excuse me, learning more about the interplay of all the actors, the writer, the director, them at home, this, that, and the other, interviews, to figure out, A, maybe why all 3 of these movies never came out. B, turns out after the third movie didn't come out, she disappeared, and no one knows where she ever went. No one thinks she's dead, but they don't know, and she just sort of disappeared. So it's not really a murder mystery. It's just a mystery, and it's in this experience that you play through. I can't think of another word. It's you're almost being a voyeur at different movie sets, trying to, and you're seeing these people's lives. It gets very intimate. There is nudity. There's, either in the movie being fictional and fake, or people get into relationships, so they may show them at home and kissing and that kind of stuff because that's what happened. So if I said that was all it was, I think this is something Colin and you, in a different way, because it's not a game. It's literally easy to get into. You could literally go right now, sign into Xbox on your computer and stream it and quote, play it. It's about movies. It's got a story that's different.
Yeah.
It's not cheesy. I think they take the time to try to tell a really good story. I think you'll even appreciate this too, is the footage from like the 60s movie is grainy. The footage from the mid to late 70s movies feels like that soon to be on tape footage.
Yeah.
And then that third movie, which is like 20 years after that one, they try to get her back in the scene to kind of make a new movie. It's crystal clear in HD, like it should be.
Yeah.
And so they even take the time to put a filter on the footage to make it feel like it's from the time it's supposed to be from. So I think they really did a good effort. We are only about probably a third of the way through at best. She really was getting into it. She's like, well, wait, click on that thing. You know, maybe that'll do. Okay, now that brings up that footage. Now she's talking to that guy. Why is that guy interested? She was really getting into it. And you could do it together. You could do it with a group. Like, you know, that's kind of a neat idea. Like getting a bunch of people together and kind of playing through the experience. So if that doesn't intrigue you, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. I will just say that so you go, okay, you have this interface. You're watching 3 movies and interview footage and all this other kind of stuff, right? Pretty simple controls. Play, stop, pause, fast forward, rewind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
All I can say is at one point we're watching the experience. And some crazy meta bullshit happens. And I don't even want to ruin what that even means.
Okay.
Because if you do experience it, when it happened, when this thing, scene, whatever time, I don't even want to ruin it.
Yeah.
When that, whatever it is, did it, we looked at each other, we're like, am I thinking straight? Or did I hear, see, whatever, do, whatever?
Yeah.
And we literally sat there like, what the hell is going on? And it sort of becomes more than the simplistic way I described it.
Okay.
That's all I can say, because I don't want to ruin it.
Okay, well, you gotta be straight.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if you are, it's literally as simple as you can do these bite-sized things. Watch 2-3 minutes at a time, maybe watch 4 or 5 scenes, and then continue it the next day. You can download it from Steam, download it on the iPad, sign in with your Netflix, it's free. If you're an Xbox Game Pass member, you can download it on your machine and play it. If you have an Xbox One, you can stream it. It won't let you download it, but it'll let you xCloud it to your older Xbox One like you have.
Okay.
Or you just have a PC right there. If you stream movies on it, you can literally, I'll put a link down at the bottom on how to play your Game Pass games remotely over the internet on any computer device, including an iPad. It's called xCloud.
Okay.
You can literally log into xCloud right there on the computer you're looking at, sign into your Xbox, and then hit play. It literally says play like that, and it'll start to stream it right onto your computer. And you're playing essentially a stream is what you're playing.
Okay.
So there's a million ways to do it. I've heard really good things about it. Some people kind of got to the end and maybe were a little like, well, this maybe not for me. But I heard a lot of people really enjoyed the experience of it. And like I said, if you're in a group, this is fun, and I really enjoyed the idea of it. And we're going to, finish it at some point here.
I like that. I'm going to look into that.
It's literally about movies. Yeah. So
no, you got me on this one. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, and I like a mystery on top of it. And actually, you said avid, so I'm taken back to my college Spielberg days. Yeah. No, I'm gonna check that out. So you gotta send me the more information about that, so I know where to go for that. But I'm gonna find some time and check that out.
Immortality.
Mm-hmm. Immortality.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, for my third and final one, I literally just got this. You're gonna need to hit your button.
I only have to hit it once, so it's already done.
I'll just so anytime, so I can just rattle off all kinds of free shit now that you've hit.
I think technically, ethically, you're supposed to say if you got it for free.
Okay, well I'm saying that. Okay, it was sent to me, and I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about this on the show before, at least not as a thing.
Okay.
One of our things and whatnot. But I know you're going to be on board for this because then there's only one issue with what I'm going to show you. But we'll get into all of that because speaking of, we were just talking about shakes, and
yes,
this is not the new movie.
I know. Spin it.
Right.
What?
It's everything that exists right now. That's what's called the Aqua Teen Hunger Force Baffler Meal. Here's the one thing that's wrong with it. Can you guess?
Either edited or it doesn't have the movie.
No, it has the movie.
Okay.
Not Blu-ray.
What?
DVDs.
Then what's the purpose?
Packaging them all together.
Who cares?
They've never been packaged together. Well, I mean, you know.
Oh, come on. What are they doing?
Yeah. So. Yeah. But
nice.
This gives me the opportunity to do two things. One, I'm all for condensing.
Yes.
And now I don't have to have 16 different DVD sets on my shelf. I have this. So that's one positive. Two positive is that now we get to talk Aqua Teen Hunger Force on the show, and we could just rattle off stuff.
So here, I'm not gonna. So here's my looking forward to. I literally have it written down here.
Yeah.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Okay, now this is amazing because this has now happened twice on the show. Once
yes.
I actually used the phrase "into the breach," not realizing that you were going to be talking about a game called that. Didn't even know that existed. So there's that. Then I just happened to get this literally yesterday, and figured, there's a million things I could have brought in, but I figured you'd appreciate this. And the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the new movie, is your follow through, so we can combine this conversation. I mean, you got me into the show so many years ago, and I love the absurdity of it, and it was fun. I mean, the Aqua Teen Hunger Force is not even my favorite character on the show, and I don't know how anyone could even argue that Carl is the best character on the show. In fact, Carl is such my favorite character that I was disappointed that he's in the movie. He's not much in the movie. Like they bring him in, he does some funny stuff, and then they basically just destroy him, like in a funny way, admittedly. But then we're left for like an hour in that movie with no Carl. That was a problem for me.
Well, it looks, based on the trailer for the new one, he's very involved,
very prominent. Yeah. Because Carl, just the guy next door who is the absolute loser, and they're constantly going in his pool and breaking into his house and whatnot. And hey Carl, what'd you lose behind the? What are you looking for back there? It's like, I lost peace and quiet. All of the stuff, and the fact that they had an episode completely dedicated to Carl, where Aqua Teen went on vacation, and they just focused on Carl, and he's ordering the food, and he's calling up all the women from his yearbook. Just, hey, you still got that cleavage?
He is the most ridiculous human being on the planet.
Yes,
and the fact that, of course, these anthropomorphized, number meal from a McDonald's basically live next door to him and do nothing but badger the hell out of him.
Yeah,
is genius on so many levels.
And I mean, the Carl episode. I mean, you just rattle off what some of your personal favorite episodes are, but the Carl episode is one of my favorites. The Foreigner Belt episode is with the Moonanites. Probably my favorite episode. That's the one that I quote the most.
Top 5, top 3 easily.
Yeah, I could even the one where it's just the Moonanites on the moon and the base, where they're plotting to kill the Aqua Teen, is great. What's some of the other? I mean, anything with the Moonanites is top 10.
The Christmas spirit from Futures Past or whatever.
I will see you. I'll see you in December.
The turkey at Thanksgiving, the robotic turkey. In the past, and then the smoke, and then it's it's
thousands of years ago. I love I forget his name. The onion monster.
Yes, with the spider legs.
Spider legs and they're just trying to get him to be scary, and then at the end, of course, he rips Carl's arms off. Jews. MCP
pants.
I was not. You like MCP pants.
Yes.
But you always try to sell me an MCP pants. A little of him goes a long way.
I want candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's fantastic because he keeps showing back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The vampire.
Yeah.
In the hospital bed. When Shake starts getting all the plastic surgery and he gets the neon put in him, and the big giant cheeks and the it's.
I love Hand Banana.
Hand Banana.
Hand Banana. The Aqua Teen. Fry brings home a computer program that you can create your own dog.
Okay. Yes.
And so there's like a whole like a pool to like make your own dog in his computer program, and then Shake puts his yellow glove in there, and the dog comes out looking like a yellow glove, and all it does is, I shouldn't even say what it does to Carl for the entire episode, and yet it's funny.
Yeah.
It's completely inappropriate, but it's funny. The dog always sounds like Dennis Leary to me.
It might be him. A lot of people love that show.
That episode always kills me, because it telepathically links with Carl. That's one of the side effects on the box. Like, it may telepathically link with you, and it telepathically links with Carl. So Carl's the only one who can hear the dog or the Hand Banana talking.
I can't remember the circumstances, but when he leaves the microwave on in the kitchen and melts the kitchen. Shake.
Okay.
What's another fantastic one?
I do like the one where Fry has had enough and he moves, and he leaves Shake and Meat back home, and they just completely destroy themselves. They get like a weird chicken fungus disease in their eyes, and Carl ends up helping Fry move, and Fry and Carl is just like, oh, I'll just be very happy when the rest of them move over here. He's like, well, they're not moving, they're staying right there. Like, that's not exactly what we agreed upon. and then he goes, I guess not. And I think he gives him a popsicle or candy bar fried to Carl. He's like, no, just take that, just shove it right back up your ass.
The what?
Of Carl. I love Carl.
The Mooninites are probably my favorite. As far, I love all of it, but the Mooninites, I love the really monotone. Oh, I'm doing this very hard. Yeah, he's giving him the finger from the spaceship. Right. I probably should do. I'm probably gonna get banned now because I gave the finger.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that, and then one of the episodes they're on the moon, and they think they get their the moon check, their government check, and they need a place to cash it, so they bring it to Earth, and they get Carl's ID, and they go to the 7-Eleven to try to cash the check so they can buy snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think at the end of it, they realize that it's a bill. And when the bill becomes due and they don't pay it, it starts to radiate. Radiation starts to melt. And when the other aliens that are idiots prank them by sending the pizzas from spaceship to spaceship.
Space Kataz.
Space Kataz. There's that. When Shake gets the helmet, the E-helmet, and he keeps getting all the attention.
E-Dork is amazing. E-Dork is amazing. Love that one.
Then I got the phone attachment. It's a big giant phone on the side of the helmet.
Yeah, the grand piano is on top of it.
And I got the music add-on.
The music is playing. Yeah. And Carl gets the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they got the screen on the front with the words that scroll across.
Yes.
One of my absolute favorites, I think it's the first season, is Wizard.
Yes.
With all the pop-up ads on the computer. Yeah. They actually went, and that's another thing. They were so good about being meta as meta was becoming popular. They made a Wizard.com. So you could go there and when you did it, it started putting a ton of pop-ups on your screen, just like from the show.
Yeah.
They were so good about that stuff. So much so, remember, they got in trouble because when they were trying to do their new season,
there's the
the neon
thing.
the neon signs.
Right.
And they figured if they did it, people would really want them because there was the Mooninites, and so they hid them everywhere. But it was right, I want to say a year or so after, I think 9/11.
11.
And everybody that saw them only saw the light and the boxes that were attached and freaked out. And they had to take them down, and only a couple people got them because they had to run and take them down, the ones that hadn't been scooped up by people yet.
That's a story.
But yeah, I mean, they were that huge. I loved it. I love the show. As the seasons went on, when they started calling it Aqua Teen something Squad and stuff, I wasn't as happy with those episodes.
I wasn't either.
But man, those first 5 or 6 years, the best some of the best 15 minutes of TV ever.
So yeah, it was just and as long as Carl was in the episode, I knew that I had a laugh coming. There's a pink guy. I think it was Pink Guy or Pink Man. It was called, and it was like a Chewbacca if he was shaved.
Yeah.
And he kept trying to mow everyone's lawn, but really he was trying to raise money to blow up the moon. And then Carl just starts chucking batteries at him because he's mowing the lawn. And he's like, I don't know anything about blowing up the moon. I'm more an expert at exposing the moon. And then he moons him. And then he turns into a werewolf, basically. And then Carl's like, whoa, what's going on here? And he jumps through and he kills Carl through the window. Yeah.
They because I think he came back for the movie. I haven't seen the movie in forever. I have to watch that now. Literally, probably right now when we're done, I'm gonna go watch that. The mad scientist, that first season had the mad scientist that would introduce, get you to the beginning of the episode. And him just getting crushed and mutilated and lasered and beaten up all the time. Right. They didn't use him obviously towards the middle and the end of that.
Right.
But I always found him incredibly amusing that first season. If you go back and watch, I hope on there, because I think it's on the first season DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
Is the original episode from Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Okay.
That had the original version of Aqua Teen Hunger Force on there.
Okay.
They were drawn more like stick figures.
Okay.
And their personalities are slightly different.
Okay.
But that's where they were first introduced, was actually on Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Okay.
It'd be interesting if when you look through there, I wonder if they had that as a little extra as their cameo on that show. But it's cool that, and I'm assuming, I think I sent you the link to the trailer for the new movie.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? I know sometimes you don't want to watch the trailers, but
I've seen the trailer. Yeah, Aqua Teen, Teen Forever, Plantasm. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Looks like they're taking a poke at Elon Musk, and they're taking a poke at technology and the Earth and all kinds of stuff, and Carl with the car tricked out with all the lasers and the guns on it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Did I ever tell you how I found that show? I think I have, but did I ever tell you?
I don't remember.
I think John, who's been on here before, we were. It was a Sunday, and we had watched. I think it was a Sunday. We'd watched a wrestling pay-per-view, and he leaves, and it's right as it's done. I'm flipping through cable, and the guide. No one uses the guide anymore. Yeah. They flipped up the thing and the guide. I'm like, I wonder what's on, and as I'm going page to page, I see on Cartoon Network or Adult Swim, to be more specific, and it says Aqua Teen Hunger Force, food items solve crimes. That, I think that's what the description was. It might have one or two more words, but that was it. Food items solves crime, and I go, or investigates crimes or something like that. And I'm like, all right, I gotta see what that is. And I click on it, and Shake Zula, the Mike Ruler, the old school, and the theme song and everything. It hooked me.
Oh, I just thought of another Carl one. There's a Carl episode where he's got like the exercise machine, but it's like a dick stimulator or something like that. And it looks like it's like one of those um like cars you find like in front of like a Kmart or something. While I'm dating myself.
Yeah, sure. Like the riding, we go back and forth.
But it's basically just this thing that's just attached to his groin and whatnot. And it just the side effect is that it made him go outside and like shit solid gold. So it's actually like it would like go into the dirt, into the grass, and would actually reanimate like all their dead pets.
The simple fact that that's the explanation tells you if you've never seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you gotta watch it.
That's it right there.
You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Carl, the Christmas episode. Carl, he gives him the it's like a plane, Daddy. It's like a plane. We're gonna boil that and eat that later.
Yeah, that's just doesn't he give him like a thing of carpet?
It's a piece of carpet. It's like a flying carpet, Daddy.
Right.
That's your dinner.
That's the robot one.
Yeah, the Christmas from Futures Past or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's thousands of years ago.
Right.
It's fantastic. I didn't even know they were making that. The box set thing.
Yeah, it was actually delayed. It was supposed to come on like August, I think, and we got delayed. And it comes out. Hold on, let me give you the exact date because it's not actually out yet. Or maybe it is. It could be out. No, it's out this week. It came out Tuesday.
Have you opened it yet?
No, I just got it.
I'm not gonna make you open it, but I'm curious what's inside of it.
Well, it looks like it's just like one of those, the way they package full seasons, like a big giant box,
like a book, just with pages.
Yeah. Right, with all the DVDs inside. It's a pretty standard kind of release kind of thing. But so needs to be on Blu-ray. But I got shelf space again. So
it's just so good.
Mm-hmm. So funny.
Aqua Teen.
Yeah.
Hunger Force.
Yeah.
Well, that's your number 3, and that's my looking forward to.
That you're looking forward to.
I really want to see, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to obviously put a link for all of this, including the trailer for the new movie Plantasm.
Right.
Which is November 8th, it says.
I think that's right. Hold on. November 8th. That will be on Blu-ray.
See, why? Why do that?
It's a lot of remastering money. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people are still just doing DVDs. I don't quite get it. I'm baffled kind of every time that it happens. We're in 4K land, people. Yeah.
And even your standard television, a Blu-ray does 1080 anyway. So
right. Yeah.
Your standard TV is doing more than 1080 most likely regardless. But even at worst cases, your TV's doing 1080 now. Why you wouldn't be doing a Blu-ray or a double release? They do that, and then they do the exact same thing as a Blu-ray.
Right. I don't know.
I understand they don't want to upgrade a cartoon to 4K or whatever the deal is. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking for an upgrade. Just the clearest, nicest possible Blu-ray picture you can possibly make of it. That's it. Right. I don't even need a 4K upgrade. Just put it out in the best possible way.
Yeah.
What does it cost them? An extra 7 cents per disc? The Blu-ray disc at this point can't cost that much.
No.
It's not like they don't already own all that. I mean, it's their own stuff. It's not. What do they have the license? The nothing. Yeah. It's their stuff.
Is this on HBO Max? Is that?
Yeah.
Is on
I believe so.
The HBO Max or Paramount Plus?
Oh, I don't. It might be I'd have to look.
Well, that's Comedy Central. That's a Paramount thing, isn't it? And that where South Park is?
No, it's Adult Swim, which is technically Warner Brothers, technically blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it could be... Whoa.
It is HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on HBO Max. All 11 seasons, apparently.
Great.
All available. So there you go. You know what you're doing tonight.
That's right.
Anyway. Okay, so you had your looking forward to.
Looking forward to, definitely.
So I'll do mine. Mine is kind of a cheat, but not entirely. It is something that's not out yet, but it is something that I have seen. And the reason why I'm looking forward to it again, not only because I want to see it again, but I'm looking forward to seeing it with people. And it's not even something that's it might go into I think it might get a limited release somewhere. It's a thing that there is being talked about. So I've been told. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but it will be available on Netflix before the end of the year. And it's actually quite a wait. It might not be until like just before Christmas, so it'll be a nice little Christmas thing for people to do with their families. Doesn't have to be families, but whatever. But it's something I saw in Toronto that I want to see with people because it's just so much fun. And that's Glass Onion, the Knives Out sequel. And people have not seen Knives Out, Rian Johnson's, ode to murder mysteries from a few years ago. That is incredibly fun already and is a wonderful subversion of the entire murder mystery, the idea of what a murder mystery can be. And in this one, which is a bit more of a familiar kind of murder mystery type story, and one that I got ahead of a bit, and yet still has enough twists and turns and plays with the plot that it doesn't matter. Like, even if you get to the end and go like, okay, I figured it out, it doesn't matter because the ride is so much fun. And like, just when you think it's going one direction, they take you in a completely different direction. And Daniel Craig returns as Benoit Blanc, and all the suspect cast list is just incredible. It's Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Edward Norton. It's actually it's inspired by a movie that I could talk about as one of my threes at some point if we ever just go on a murder mystery spree. But there's a movie from the 1970s called The Last of Sheila. That was actually written by Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins.
What?
Yeah. Anthony Perkins and Stephen Sondheim were really good friends. And one of the things that they actually loved to do together was puzzles. So they created the screenplay, this murder mystery called The Last of Sheila. And this Last of Sheila is very much an influence on Glass Onion. And it makes a lot of sense because when Knives Out premiered at Toronto 3 years ago, Rian Johnson actually hosted a screening of The Last of Sheila.
Oh, wow.
During the festival. Whether or not, who knew Knives Out I thought it was. But whether it was how big a hit it was going to be, it turned out to be a great hit, and then whatever, now it's on Netflix instead of Lionsgate, so their loss. But the setup of Glass Onion is very Last of Sheila. Edward Norton plays this tech billionaire, not unlike Elon Musk, who invites all of his friends to his house to play a murder mystery game. And that's all I'll say. So, and it just, again, the way it plays out, you're halfway through, you think you're in one direction, it spins you off completely in a different direction, and you start to have to reevaluate everything you've seen.
So he's a millionaire eccentric, or does he's a millionaire because he writes about murder mysteries, or films about?
Yeah, in Knives Out, Christopher Plummer played his character, wrote murder mysteries in the original movie. In this one, right. He's just a tech billionaire.
Okay.
Has his own little private place on an island and whatnot, and he's richer than shit. And he's got all these friends that he has connections to that he invites over to solve the mystery of him being murdered.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. And it is so much fun. Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware, and I'm sure they took inspiration because Glenn Gordon Carey likes all this stuff too, like My Girl Friday and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's an episode in Moonlighting where the receptionist,
Yeah.
Elise Beasley.
Right.
She's a big fan of a Harry. What's her name? Oh, it's probably not a good person. Probably not a good person to bring up. Yeah, Agatha. Well, let's go that way. Agatha Christie. And this writer once a year will send his biggest fans. If you're lucky to get like a golden ticket, you get to ride on a train at a murder mystery night with the writer of these murder mystery books, and she of course wins, and they go with her, and obviously they're a private eye agency,
Right.
and they go there, and they're just gonna drop her off because she's flighty, and they want to make sure she gets on the train safe. Are you sure these people aren't crazy? Well, then of course they get stuck on the train leaves, and now it's the two idiots with her on this train, and someone dies, and now it's an all big investigation as to, so it's kind of similar in a way, except this millionaire was the writer of the mystery as opposed to just being eccentric in general. But
yeah, this is just a guy that just creates a murder mystery party for his friends with unlimited resources, basically. And the thing that you still haven't seen the original, right? Knives Out.
Oh, no, oh yeah, we did. We loved it.
You have. Okay,
we loved it.
Okay, great. And you remember how, as great as the murder mystery and all the characters was and all that kind of stuff, that the sort of the underlying theme of the movie was the kind of the old money, new money type stuff.
Sure.
So there was kind of this real world edge to it that Rian Johnson, on top of all the stuff that was going on, was actually doing a kind of commentary about the haves and the have-nots kind of stuff. He doesn't lose that in Glass Onion.
Good.
Yeah, it's really well done. I mean, I want to see it again. I kind of almost want to watch both movies back to back because this one's bigger. It's longer. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and not a wasted second. It is, and I think it might be funnier than the first movie. The mystery's not, again. I think most people will get ahead of what's actually going on, but again, the way that it's all subverted, and when you start piecing everything together, and he starts telling you what you should have been paying attention to and whatnot, it makes it even funnier and even more interesting. And you go like, well, okay, I got it, but I didn't get that. And like, oh, that's clever. It's that kind of thing. And I just want to see people react to it. And I got to see that movie, which most people won't, in a theater. And not that I'm one of these guys that just like, well, the movie should be experienced in the theater, or this is where they were meant to see. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm all for that. But I'm also the guy that goes, like when the publicist says like, well, we want you to experience this in the theater. I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm gonna react to it here the same way I'm gonna react to it in the theater. But it was fun when you see a communal group all respond the same way that you're responding. If you hate the movie and they're responding great, it's just more annoying. But if you're all in the same mindset and you're all really enjoying something at the same time in the same places, that's a really fun experience. And that's actually kind of rare. It is.
We've talked about that before. Like, I personally, like, when a new Marvel movie comes out or DC movie, like, I want to go. It's big, loud, brash, crazy. I want to see it on the biggest screen I can find with the loudest speakers I can find. Yeah. And if they got thing with a seat shake and whatever, people want to run up and punch you in the face while you're watching. Like, I want it all. Yeah. I want the crazy for that. Mm-hmm. So, I will extend myself now for that kind of thing.
Right.
I think if it's going to be, it's not just, well, it might be a comedy, but going into it, it's going to be a laugh out loud, like, whatever, Jim Carrey, new, everyone thinks it's hilarious. You want to be in a group of 100 people laughing is some of the most fun you'll ever have. Is 100 people all laughing at once. It's infectious. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood it, and I think we may have talked about this on your podcast. Is I get wanting to see a well filmed, well framed, good looking movie on a big screen. I get the art of that. I get it. I understand it. I'm not crapping on it.
Right.
But when it's a sad movie or it's a think piece or a documentary, but it's really dynamic and it's really going to make you think.
Yeah.
And someone goes, "Oh, well, you got to see that in the theater." I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
That's not nearly as important as I think the laughing or the action is.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally.
Right.
I get, 2001 there's not a lot of action and there's not a whole lot of laughing going on in that movie.
Right.
But to see that in the biggest possible format with a really nice sound system, I get that too. The art of that makes sense.
Of course.
But if it's a drama about divorce, I don't necessarily need to go run to the theater and see that. To each their own. But I would.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think it's mandatory. Oh, you have to, really?
Yeah. No, I could go through the entire list of movies that I saw at Toronto and I'd point out how many of them I could have just as easily seen on a screener. And then I saw some movies on a screener that they wanted me to go see in the theater. I'm like, there's no reason I couldn't have enjoyed or not enjoyed that here. It was mostly not enjoyed.
I think the thing that's also taught us that, whether they wanted to do this or not to themselves, is glamour TV projects. Your HBOs, your your Breaking Bads, your that kind of stuff. It's just as emotional, just as interesting, just as whatever on TV.
Right. And I mean, they don't want to admit this, but also I think it's just the idea of they think people might not be paying as much attention at home if they're, there's more distractions, but I could make the I could throw the argument volley it right back at them, by saying, you made me go see this in the theater and I was behind a row of people who were just not shut up. So my opinion of the movie is now completely jacked because I couldn't even concentrate on the movie because you put me in a theater with assigned seating that I couldn't move and sitting next to, Chatty Cathy behind me. So, if the option is that or me maybe hitting a pause button on my TV or computer so I could go to the bathroom in peace and not miss anything as well. I saw a movie last week. I saw a double feature in a theater last week for the podcast. And the second movie, which was really great, called Pearl, which I really, 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 really liked. But I was drinking a lot of lemonade in that theater and had to go to the bathroom so bad. And the movie was so good that I couldn't I'm like, there's no good spot for me to go right now. There's just no, and then there's like a monologue and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, but it would have been great to just give me a moment, pause, bathroom, come back. Only enhances your enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. We could do that on Pissed.
Yes, Pissed Patreon.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this is, I don't know. Regardless, this would be a movie that might, because I like the first one so much. We really enjoyed the first one.
Oh, so entertaining.
Knives Out was really well done, and I like any movie where you get a bunch of personalities, together. Like actors, you're like, oh, that's right. I don't think they've ever been in a movie together. Like it's interesting to see them play off each other. And when I saw people in this trailer, and I was like, this is a motley bunch. Like really, like this. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. And as Dave Bautista got some crap for saying like, I don't need a career like The Rock. I don't need to do those kinds of movies. Like he got a little. Hey, people were calling him a little elitist, a little crappy about it. Like, look, I'll go watch a Rock movie. I have no problem with that. But I can appreciate
a good Rock movie. Not many of them exist.
True enough. But I can appreciate someone just being like, he was kind of that way with wrestling too. He's like, I do this, I do it when I enjoy it, and I do what I want to do. Kind of when I'm done, I think I'm just done. And he's very matter of fact, that guy. And even now, he said, once I'm done with Drax, he's like, you know what? I'm 52 years old or whatever he is now. He's a little over 50, I think. He's like, I've been this size my whole life. I don't really want to have to maintain this kind of body anymore. And he's like, so I'm probably done doing superhero movies. Someone's going to want me looking different than the way I do. Yeah. It's just kind of neat. And when I saw him in this, I was like, wow, you know, him in Blade Runner was great.
Oh, yeah.
And Batista now showing up in this, it's doing, you know, not slapstick, but I'm assuming he's got some good, you know, they give him some one-liners, some good stuff to kind of play with. Be a little goofy.
Funny in the movie.
See, good. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it.
No, he's good.
It's interesting. He picks a movie like once every 4 years, and it's something a little. He pops out, does his thing, and leaves, and people are like, "I like that dude."
Yeah,
like that's it. And he leaves, and then you don't see him again for a while, and he just pops up. And you're like, "Yeah, he was really good in that."
I forgot to mention the list of suspects. Janelle Monáe is in the movie as well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Janelle Monáe. I like her a lot.
She's very good in this.
Good. She's good to hear.
Yeah.
Super talented, man. She's so talented.
Yeah.
It's good because I don't know if she ever acted. She was in what movie? Yeah, that's right.
That's sort of the big one. She's been in a few others, but Hidden Figures was the one where like that was when the acting career really began.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Not a fan of that movie, but even as a space nut, but no knock on her. So Glass Onion, December 23rd, I think, is the tentative release date on Netflix.
It's going straight to Netflix?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of okay.
Yeah,
Christmas too.
Ryan Johnson made the deal with Netflix after they courted him or whatever. When he said he was going to be doing, he wanted to do more Knives Out movies, and Craig's like, I think he said even in Toronto, he said, is like, as long as he keeps writing them, I'll keep making them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like he loves Ryan Johnson, and yeah, he's definitely 2 for 2 in the. I've liked everything Johnson's done, everything. So
even Star Wars,
The Last Jedi, one of the best Star Wars movies ever. Yeah, I said it. Yes, one of the best Star Wars movies ever. Top 3. There, I said it.
Wow.
I said it.
Top 3.
For 3.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I saw that preview.
You and Mrs. Fun are gonna have a blast with it. I almost want to. We should all just watch it together because it should just be a viewing party because it is that entertaining.
Well, we're moving some things around here in the house. It'll be a little more fixed up again. So we'll have to do that soon anyway.
I'll probably even get it earlier.
Uh-oh.
What I say?
Promo.
Is it promo?
If you get it earlier.
Yeah, I guess.
So let's do a little recap. If you want to try out a fun time loop game, by the way, he even real quick, Deathloop, to go back to the beginning. One of the first things you come upon is a door and a little shooting range thing, and then there's a clock radio.
Okay.
And you hear him, someone either on the radio or the voice that's talking to you goes, "Same song when you wake up again," or something like that. A little nod to Groundhog Day.
Nice.
So Deathloop, free on Game Pass on Xbox and on the PlayStation Premium, I think it's called, or you can just buy it, and it's also on PC. Toronto Film Festival, you saw Fabelmans, Spielberg's new semi-autobiographical movie, so check that out. When's that coming to something you can watch it on?
November 11th, I think, on the coast, and then November 23rd everywhere in theaters.
November 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to give a book a try out, a comic book, Fantastic Four, The Full Circle by Alex Ross, he basically did everything. So art's beautiful. If you like a new little kind of relatively cheap coffee table book, it's only $24. Go to your local comic book store, Dreamland Comics, Libertyville, Illinois. Talk to Charlie. Anderson's Frozen Custard, the specifically root beer freeze shake, or whatever you want to call it.
Andy's Frozen Custard.
And if you want to try a different style of game, especially if you're into movies or murder mysteries, not really murder mystery, but a mystery and an interesting experience that you had some control over, it's called Immortality. You can, if you're a Netflix subscriber, it's free to you. Otherwise, on Steam, you can purchase it, and also on the Xbox. You could purchase it there as well, and I think the iPad. But if you're a Netflix subscriber, you could just sign into Netflix. You download it, sign in, and you can just play it on your iPad or on your PC. Aqua Teen Hunger Force DVD set. Throw it up there real quick.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. If you are not a fan of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I don't know if I can talk to you.
There you go.
And if you've never seen him, you should watch it because it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads us to the new Aqua Teen movie sequel, Aqua Teen Forever Plantasm, which comes out November 8th. I think it's in theaters. I don't think it's theaters and streaming. I think it's just theaters.
I think it's just. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, is it streaming?
No, it's going to be on DVD, Blu-ray. It might be available on streaming, but it's going to be on Blu-ray on.
Oh, that's right. It's not even in theaters, is it?
Oh.
So available.
Yes.
On November 18th. I'll just put available. That's right. I remember they put the DVD up on the ad.
Yep.
Or at the end of the trailer. Of course, the link's in. And then you're looking forward to Glass Onion, the Knives Out sequel. Knives Out was so good. That's going to be out at the streaming on Netflix on December 23rd.
Yeah, that is the tentative date.
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
But you're looking forward to seeing it again. That's how good it is.
With people.
Oh, well.
I want to see it with people.
Sure.
I mean, I'm happy to watch it again, but with people I always want to see a movie again with people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there'll be links to everything we're talking about, as many as I can find or make fun, down in the links here in this video. It'll also be in the show notes on the iTunes stream. It'll be down. You got to scroll up on your phone, and the notes are at the bottom. You click on the link. It'll take you right to YouTube to the video I'm pointing out. Speaking of, please subscribe, click the bell. It helps the algorithm, and it'll let you know when I go live, which I'm now streaming as well. You'll see the gameplay for Deathloop down there, so you can click on it, go right to it, watch me play. And if you want to listen to Mr. Childress there, he has 2 different podcasts available on iTunes and on Spotify and on nowplayingnetwork.net, right? I have that right? Yeah, .net. And it's called Movie Madness Podcast is the main one. And then the other one he does is with Morgan Geyer, and that's called The Friendship Dilemma. So please subscribe to all of it. Have a listen if you like it. Please comment on it anywhere you can, and we'll be on again soon.
Yes, we will.
All right. See you next time.
Yep, you got it.